The next thing that we are going to see is what is quality center. This is a test management tool, right? Now, quality center was initially developed as test director. Okay, this is how it started. It was basically for testers to manage, maintain, and execute, track test cases. So it was basically designed to manage your test cases, manage your test cases, maintain your test cases, execute test cases, and track defects. So this was basically this application. Test director was developed, and this was developed by a company called Mercury. Now, as they improved different versions, they moved from this was a Windows-based Windows-based application where you need to install and use it as an application. From that, they moved into a web-based application. Web-based application, that is what we call it as quality center. Now, after it became quality center, HP bought this tool. After they bought the tool, they renamed this tool as ALM, that is Application Life Cycle Management. Application Life Cycle Management tool. Now, this is again a web-based tool. But what is the difference between Quality Center and ALM? It is now called ALM QC. Application Life Cycle Management Quality Center. Now, what is the difference? Let me clean this up. ALM. Now, test director that I told you, quality center that I told you was basically focusing on testing. Now, ALM focuses on the entire application. That is right from development, or rather let's not talk about development, right from requirement gathering, development, testing, version control, everything that is end to end for your project. You can track your project here. Project management is also inside. So it became an end-to-end application for a complete project. That is what ALM is. That is the difference between ALM and quality center. Again, for testing, you can do manage, maintain, create, execute. That all features are still there. But you have additional features like version control. Development team can track their code, deploy their code here. When they create a code, they can maintain the code here. The BA, right, business analyst, when they create the requirement, they can create here. Since it became a complete tool, you can also do requirement traceability matrix. You can also do requirement traceability matrix. Well, I'll tell you what do you mean by requirement traceability matrix, but these are multiple features that we can work on with this tool. So this became a much wider tool compared to test director and quality center that was focusing only on testing. Platform looks like, since I told that you guys I told you guys that this is an end-to-end tool that can be used to manage projects. Now I have multiple projects. How do I manage, or how do I get specific information about multiple projects? It's not a global login where you can see all the projects. No, they did not do that in that way. What you need to do, every user is given access to specific projects. Specific project. Okay, you can be given access to multiple projects, but you have to get access to every project. So now when you log in, say you have your username and password, when you log in, you will see two more things here: domain and project. Now domain, usually every company, say example, it's a HR project, it will be under HR domain. If it's a sales project, if it is customer project or something like that, right? It's a testing project, whatever projects that is there, these are the domains. Now you might have multiple projects under one domain. I will have multiple projects under HR domain. So you need to provide access to the domain first, right? I need access to the domain, and then in that domain I need to provide access. Say example, in HR project, HR domain, I have 4 projects: project 1, project 2, project 3 and project 4. Now for all the 4 projects, say example, person A is coming into the application. Now he might be provided access to HR domain, and he might be provided access to, say, project 3. So when a person comes in, he will be able to view only this particular project. He will not be able to view these project information. So that is the level of access that we provide during the admin part. There is a separate application called Site Admin for ALM, where you can do all this configuration. Now we are not going to focus on that, because we will not have access to that. It is always controlled by the system admin. System admin has the control. You send them a mail saying that I need access to, say, HR project, HR domain and project 3. He will provide you access to it. Once he provides you access to it, you will be able to log in. So when you log in, say example, you see here, this is disabled, right? Now I'm going to provide my user ID and password. User ID is Krishna, password is Krishna. Now when I authenticate, I am allowed to access default domain and the project as Krishna Training, right? Default domain and a project. So this project that is here is the only access that I have. There might be multiple projects under this default domain, but I am provided only access to this. So I select the project that I need to go in, and then I will click on login. Okay. This is a license issue. If you get this message, I'll tell you how to rectify this. Yeah. If you get that message and you don't see information here, log out, go here to your date and change the date to 2009. Apply. Okay. Now sorry. Now you log in. Oh God. Okay, so what do you need? Give me 1 second. Let me close and restart. Okay. Now when you log in, this is how your home page will look like. You will be in the analysis view as soon as you log in. Now we are focused only on the testing and defect. These are the two modules that we will be focusing on. Okay, for our day-to-day work, we will be focusing only on the testing and defect. But what is this requirement? Requirement is not for us. Requirements is where the BA goes in and starts working with the test, the FRD and BRD document. So what does the BA do first thing? The BA will click on the top requirements, create a new folder, and say example I'm going to say QA batch 176. That's the project that I'm going to work with. So I created a folder. Can you see here, guys? Can you see here a green symbol coming up? A green symbol coming up. That is what is the version control. We'll talk about the version control today. After some time, we will talk about the version control. But let's see how to add a requirement. So now I created a folder so that this is the project that I'm going to work with. Now I'm going to add a requirement. So I'll click on this new requirement field. Here I'm going to give say example create patients. This is a module that this is the FRD document that I'm going to work with. So I'm going to say here in the description this requirement enables your users to create new patients in the Cairo system. Okay, I'm going to leave this all blank. I'm just going to leave it. I'm going to submit it. So I have created. So submit. It will automatically open another requirement. We don't want to create another one. Just close it. Now I have added a new requirement. So I'm going to add one more requirement. So I'm going to say no, not there. Always select the folder and then click. I'm going to say create patient. I'm going to say add past medical history. I'm going to say this requirement will be able to add a past medical history patients. Okay. So now I have added two requirements. So like this, the BA will create all the requirements. And then in that requirement, he or she will go to attachments and attach the BRD and FRD document here. So when a requirement is assigned to you, say example, this requirement, I am going to, here it will be like, say example, WO space, I'll say WO1234 work order and this requirement like this. Okay. And this one will be work order. WO stands for work order 1235 space hyphen and like this. So depending upon how many work orders, right? Say example, a person will be assigned to multiple work orders. So the team lead will say, you work on the first 5 work orders. You work on second 10 from 6 to 10 work orders. So when a specific work order is assigned to you, so what will you do? You will go into this project, you will go to this particular requirement, double click on the requirement, understand what is written about the description, go to the attachments, open the FRD document. Say example, let's attach an FRD document here. So the FRD document is got it's in my local system. So you will open the FRD, the FRD document that is attached here, double click, open it, you read the document and start writing the test cases. So that's how the flow goes. Okay. Now when you start working on this, right, you are seeing this green color symbol. Okay. The work orders are created like this. For every batch, the work orders are created like this. For every project, the work orders are created like this. Now, can anyone tell me what do you mean by version control? Now, what do you mean by version control? Say example, you are writing a document. Okay. Now you send the document, you completed the document, everything looks good. Then you send the document for review to another person. That person reviews and sends the document, right?
Yes.
So what happens? You tend to maintain the original and take the review comments as a separate document, correct?
Yes.
Right? Why?
Yes.
Why do you do that?
To keep track of what was changed from what, basically.
Yes. Now you make those changes, send it to the same person for review. Sends another set of changes.
Okay.
So now you will have version 1, version 2, version 3.
Version 3, right.
That is what you call version control.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Retaining the previous version of your document or whatever you have done.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Maintaining that is what you call version control. So that if in case anything happens to the current version, you can always revert back to the older version.
Okay.
You're getting me?
Yeah.
That is what is version control. Now let's see how does the version control work. Yes.
Rajesh, I didn't get it. Could you please elaborate it?
Okay. Now you are in a company working. You write a document. You have been asked to write. Say, tell me about yourself. Say example. Or you have been asked to write how to write. What is the standard procedure for writing a test case? So you write a document. Okay, you are understanding that portion.
Yeah, Rajesh.
Now you send it to your manager for review. Correct?
Right. Okay.
Or say example, let's take a simpler example. You have been asked to give a speech.
Okay.
So what will you do first thing?
At first, I prepared what I have to tell.
Speak, right?
Yeah.
And then what you will do? You will give it to your husband or someone whom you know for them to read and see whether is there anything that I missed, anything that that you need to correct. Correct?
Yeah. Right.
Right. So they will say no, change all these things. Now you take and change it. Correct?
Yeah.
And then you will send it back to them again.
Right.
They will see and make another set of changes. Again you will update, right?
Okay. Yeah. Right. But
will you maintain your previous copy, original copy, or you will save it on top of it?
I will save my. In a different copy.
You will save it as a separate copy because you want to. If in case anything happens, you can always revert it back to the old copy, right?
Right.
You will always have the original as a separate one.
Yeah. Right.
That is what you call version control. Now you understood?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Rajesh.
So what you will do? You will say, example, you're saving the file as speech 1.
Okay.
The next, when after the corrections, you will save the file as speech 2, right?
Yeah.
just to differentiate the original version and the next version?
Yeah, right, Rajesh. Yeah.
That is what is version control. You
Okay.
getting me? So
Yeah,
that
got
any
it.
time you can go back to your previous version.
Okay.
You getting me?
Yeah, right. Got it, Rajesh.
Yeah. Any other questions? Okay. Now let's see how does this version control work. Here, as soon as I create a text, a requirement, it comes in the green symbol here with a lock that shows like open. What does this mean? It is not checked in. So now how does the version control work? Now version control works in two steps. In two steps. One, check in. Two, check out. Now when you create a document, create a new document, you should check into the version control so that the version control knows that this is the original document. Now you wanted to know that version control is checked in and you have the original document in the version control. Now you want to make the changes. You will go to this original document and check out. Check out. So when you check out, the version control knows that you have taken this document out for editing or making changes. Now what happens here? Once you check out, you make all the changes. After that, you have to check in back. So that what the version control will do, original document is in original location. It will that will be in row 1. It will create another row and say XYZ V1. Now this will be your current document. Whenever you want, you can revert it back to the original document, or you can come back to this document, but you still have a version 1. Now if I want to edit this, I will check out, and then after my changes, when I check back in, it will create another row XYZ V2. So every time you check out and check in, it will create a new row and save the changes here. You are able to understand? Guys, you are able to understand? Any questions? Yes?
Can you repeat that again?
Okay. Now, say you have created a document for us, say speech. Okay, this is the document name, .doc. Okay.
Okay.
Now, what happens is that you are going to check in. You understood what is check in and check out?
Yeah.
Serious? You understood it, or you want me to explain what it is?
Check-in means if you have, after the changes, you have to check in to see the newer version, right?
No, after first you have to check out the original. If you are first time doing it, you have to check in so that it keeps as the original copy.
Okay.
Okay. First, when you create a document, you got to check in first.
Okay.
That is, put it into the version control. Getting me?
Yeah.
Then, if you want to make changes in the document, you have to tell the version control that I'm going to make changes. Give me the document. That is what we call checkout.
Oh. Okay.
So the version control will allow you to take the document.
Okay.
Now when it allows you to take the document, it knows that you are going to make changes there.
Okay.
And then you took the document, made all the changes. Then you have to give it back to the version control, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That time again you check in.
Okay.
At that time it will create a new row. It will not save on the original. It will create a new row and keep the document.
Okay, with changes. Okay.
With changes. You are able to get me?
Yeah. Now I got it. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Rajesh, if suppose you check out the document, the original document, and you do not make any changes, and you check in back again, so still it will create another version?
Yes, it will create another version. When you check out, that means you make changes or not, you're telling the version control that I am taking the document for modification.
Okay.
Now when you check back in without any changes, it doesn't know. It only just creates a copy. How does it know that what are the changes you did?
Okay.
It just creates a copy of it and keeps, that's all.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Getting me?
Yeah. Thank you.
When you say check out
Mm-hmm.
the original document, like, is it like the original file, or is it like you just like it's a how does like check out the document? Like you can just take the document and type in and again say
Yes. Yes, you're going to take the whole document out
okay.
and then open the document, make all the changes and put it back in.
Okay, and but the check in that level has the original already.
Yes.
The original made a copy.
Yes.
Okay. So saying the same thing. If you can show, that would be.
Yeah, I'm going to show you that. Okay. Okay. Let's see how to work with version control. Now you see here, I have not checked in, so I'm able to open and directly edit because this is my original document. So I'll say this is test. This is my original document. Unless I check in, the version control will not kick in. So how do I check in? You see here a button here, check in. Click on that. So now it will show me the list of documents that are not yet checked in. Now let's check in all the documents. So I have my two work orders as well as my folder. I'll say okay, check in. Any comments? Blah blah blah. I don't have any comments. I'm fine with it. I'll just give it off. Now you see that the lock symbol is gone. Okay, that means the document is checked in for version. Now let's see this history. You see here the document is checked in. This is the document. The latest document is version 2. That is the latest document that is there. Now let's make the changes. So I'm going to go to detail and I'm going to click on this and I'm going to say this is QA training. So I'll say dot here. It says you got to requirement is under version control and is read only. Do you like to check out now? Yes, I want to check out. So do you want to give a comments? Okay, fine. No. Now the document is checked out. You see here, back to that green symbol is come back. Now I'll say this is QA training. Okay. Now the edit changes have been made. I got to go back and check in that document. Okay. Now I have made the changes. I have checked in. You see here, this new one is here. Fine. Now I want to go back to my original version. How do I do that? Go to history. Now you see here, there is a new version 3 created. I want to go back to my older version. So I'll go select my older version. I don't know what it is there. So I'll say view. You see, this is QA training is not there in that. Is this what we want? Yes, that's what we want. So I will say check out. Or if you want to compare and see what are the two things. So I'll select two versions and I will say compare. It will show me what is the difference between the two versions. Here you see the changes that you made are here. This is test is already in the previous. The new changes that you made here is this is QA training. Yes.
We have made changes only one time, right? How could there be 3 versions?
Yeah, the original version when it created, right? It created. That is the raw version. But you checked in. When you checked in, it created a new version. So this will be your baseline version. Version 2 will be your baseline version.
Okay.
Okay. So it will always create the checked in version as when you first time check in, it will create as version 2.
Okay.
So now you see the changes here. You know that you want to revert back to this original one. Okay, fine. So now what I'll do, I'll select the original. I will say check out. That is, I'm going to bring that document out. Yes, I want to check out. Fine. Now that original document is out. Let me say, okay. If you open this, you see here that QA training is gone now. Okay. Now I will check in that document. You got to check in to make it confirm that that's the latest version. Checking in. Okay. Now you see that the latest version is this. It's gone. The QA training is gone. Now I want to come back to my original the QA training version. Go back to history. See which is the version. You know version 3. If you don't know, compare and see what is the difference. This is the version. Check out that version. Yes. Okay. Okay. Now you open and see. You see, this is QA training is come here now.
Even for viewing the content inside the document, when we check in, do we need to check out?
Viewing the content, you don't need to check out. See, I'm not checking out. Just to view the document, I'm not checking out, right?
Okay.
I can just view the document. But when I want to enter, you got to check in and then check out to enter information.
Okay.
When you have the symbol, that means you are not checked in. You have to check it.
Okay.
Getting me?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
So Rajesh, we can only change or edit the comments or description, right? Nothing else.
So you can edit anything you want here.
So
Say example, I'm editing this one. I'm saying software. Product, I'm going to say some the product information is not there. Not covered, I will say it is not completed. Anything I can do. Priority, I will say high. Whatever changes you make, say okay and then check in.
Okay.
No, that latest will be there. You see here?
Yeah.
All the changes are there.
Got it.
Any other questions?
No, thank you.
Yes?
Yes, Rajesh. When we check in and we see the document, we view it, and then we don't want to do anything. Then we cancel and go out, but we don't check out. So there won't be any new version.
No. Can you repeat the question again?
If we check in and then go to history to view the version and compare, and then I don't want to do anything, and then I can come out, but
Yes.
I'm not checking out. So it's not going to have any version because I didn't check out and check in again.
No, it's not going to have. Let's do that. So I'm going to go here. Oh God. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go to history. I'm going to compare this version with my original version. Compare. Now it is showing me, see, modified. This is modified. This is modified. Whatever modifications that I have done, it's showing me that. You see here?
Yes.
Modified, modified.
Yes.
And then you see here, these are the changes. Fine. I viewed all these things. I don't want to make any changes.
Okay.
Cancel. Done. Nothing. It's still not checked out. See.
Okay.
Unless you click the checkout, it won't check out.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Fine. Yes?
We need to compare with the original version, or we can compare with the other
You can compare with any version. I just compared with the original. That's all.
Okay, okay.
There's no specific thing that you can compare only with the original version. You can compare with any version you want.
Okay.
So now I created multiple releases here, or sorry, multiple requirements here. So this is how the requirements are being created by the BA. Now you as a tester will work only with these two tabs, testing and defect. Now let's see each and everything. What is this? Business component is something that is additional. We don't use that at all. Whatever we use is resources, test plan, test lab. Those are the three tabs that we use. Test resources. Now test resources is where you keep your and maintain your documents like test plan, test strategy, everything is maintained in your test resources. Say for example, in order to maintain that, what will you do? You click on resources, new folder, say example QA batch 176. I created a folder, and in the folder I'm going to create a new resource. I'm going to say QA batch 176 underscore release 1. Okay. Now you see here multiple tabs got generated. I can give the description of this here, resource viewer, where I can upload files. This is where I will upload my files. Say for example, okay, I'm taking an Excel sheet and I'm uploading the Excel sheet here. The Excel sheet is here. You see, this is where you upload your documents. This is where you upload your test plan, test strategy. Any dependencies, you can use your dependencies here. History, you see here there is a version control here also. So when you do this, you got to check in. This is what you need to check in. Check in. Okay. Done. So now that is checked in. You see here the original version is here. So this is where you put all your libraries, everything, object repositories. Even you see here, these are QTP object repositories. Those are put here. QTP library functions are put here. You see, these are all library functions. Anything that you want, you can put it here. All the documents are maintained in your test resources. Guys, you are able to understand this? Any questions? Okay. Once you finish all those documents, yes.
First, we are going to use only testing and defects, right? But if we have to go to test resources, it allows us to go there, right?
Yes.
Okay. So
that's where you maintain all your documents.
Okay. We can access anything, but mainly working on defects and testing, right?
Mainly you will work on these two. Test plan and test lab defects. These three.
Oh, okay.
Okay, this the test resources is where your test strategy, test plan, you will maintain all those things there.
Okay. Okay.
You getting me?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Ryan.
Yeah. Now, the next what we are going to see is the test plan. This is where you will be working 95% of your testing career. This is where you will be working. Now here is where you will create your test cases. So again, how will you create it? Click on subject, create a new folder. So I'm going to create a QA batch 176. Now in this, I'm going to create a test, new test. So I will say test case 01, TC01, create PATIENTS patients. Creation date is today's date. What else you need to give? Business process. Select this is a not a business. This is not a business process. This is a manual test. So you say manual. Okay, and then give comments. Whatever you comment you want to give. Say this test case. Creates new patients system. Okay, done. Click OK. So now you have created a test case. The moment you create a test case, you will see again that version control kicks in, and then you will see multiple tabs coming out. Now these tabs are exactly related to our test cases. You see design step, parameter, attachments, test configuration, requirement, coverage, linked defects, dependency, and history. So history is where you track your version control. So design steps. This is where you give your steps. So you'll say there is step name, description, expected result. So you click on this step 1. Now let's take a test case. Let me take a test case. For example, I'm going to take the test case for create patients. Okay. So this is a positive test case. I'm going to write. I'm going to take this. I'm going to copy this step. Launch the application. That's my first step. So I'll go here. Create the step. I'm going to say. I'm going to remove the step 1. I'm going to go. Step name is. No. Step name is step 1. That's your step 1. So I'll leave the step name as step 1. And then in the description, I will provide the description here. And then in my expected result, I will put my expected result. Expected result. Okay. So that's how you add your line. Now where will you put your test data? Usually, right, say example in the projects that I work in, these columns are created by the site admin. Okay, and we usually have another column which says test data. So we add it here only. But here, since this has been created by not by me, the site admin did not create an extra column here. So if this is not available, you put your test data in parameters. So I'll say new parameter. Enter. Don't put it as default value. Put it in description. What is the test data? This is my test data. Put it in the description. What's happening? Paid and copy. Put it in the description. Order. What is the order? The order number is 1. Parameter name I will say something like launch. Okay. The next one is, what is the next step? Next step is enter username and sign in button. That's my step 2. Description is this. Test data is this. Okay. I'll go to my parameter. New parameter. Order is 2. I'll say login. Username and password. I'm not going to provide the username password. I'll just type that use your own username password. Step 3. I'm going to say menu patients. Patients page is displayed. Fine. There's no test data for that. The next one is click on new patient button. Create patient. No test data for that, so I'm going to leave it blank. Enter patient information. There is a test data for it. That is step number 5. We will rearrange it. We will reorder it later. So step number 5 has this. So new parameter. I will say step 5, order 5. I will say new. No. information, and in the description I'll copy and put this data. That's it. Next is step. Click on create button. Fine. So I have 7 steps here. Now I have to reorder the steps. So I'll say number 2, I'll select 2, bring it up. 3, bring it up. 4, 5, and 6. Fine. So now I have all the steps, description, expected result. Now I got to check in. I'll check in this. This is the test case that I have to check in. Check in. Done. So that is checked in. Yes.
Hello,
Go ahead.
Rajesh. After the description, we will give the test data first, and then we will move to the expected result, right? So is it
Correct.
Correct.
But what it is that, see, when I open a new step now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, what is this? Oh, okay, it's asking to check out. Okay. When I go to the new step, you see here, description and expected result. So it's copy paste is easy for me. Usually what happens, you will, since we have written it in the Excel sheet, we just copy pasting. Otherwise, you will write your description, you will write your expected result and the test data and parameter. Since we started in Excel sheet, we went through this format. So you're telling me that you write like this, but actually in the original format, you write your description, expected result, and then parameter in a different file.
Okay. It's just because you don't have the test data field there, so you are doing in parameters.
Correct. But in my project where I work, right, we have test data column. So you have step name, description, test data, expected result, and then we also have remarks where you can put some remark there. So this is this template is created by the site admin. Okay. I don't know how to create this template. I have the site admin, but I don't know how to create a template, so I didn't do that. Because if I do it, then you all have to do that, right? So we will follow the standard procedure. That's why I left it off like that.
But if we have the same scenario in real time, the parameter means the test data.
Yes. So in the real scenario, you will have one more field coming up in between, where it will like this, right? Like description, instead of expected result, you will have test data, and below that you will have expected result.
Okay.
So you just copy paste the test data in the middle field. That's all.
Okay.
Getting it?
Yes. Thank you, Rajesh.
So now that's got checked out. So let me check in back. Okay. So now you have created the test case. Similarly, you will write all the test cases like this. Now, how do you do the requirement traceability matrix, right? Now you see here requirement coverage. Now, when you go into your requirements, this requirement, that this test case that you wrote, the TC01 test case, is related to this requirement, create patients requirement. So what I will do is, I will come to my test case, click on the requirement coverage, select this requirement. You see, requirement folder is popping up here, expanded, QA batch 176. Now this is the requirement for which we wrote the test case. Map it. You see here that got mapped. So now for this test case, this is the requirement. You might have multiple test cases with the same requirement. Like you had 3 to 4 test cases for create patients where you had negative, positive. Everything will be inside this test case. You map up all the test case with this requirement. What is the advantage of this? Let me explain what is the advantage of this. Now, when a project manager wants to track the entire status, so he will know which project. Say example, our project name is QA batch 176, right? Now he will know for this how many requirements were there. Requirement 1, requirement 2, requirement 3. For this requirement, how many test cases were there? TC1, TC2, TC3, TC4. For this test case, how many defects did you raise, or how many times did you execute this test case? How many defects did you raise? Everything can be tracked right from project to the end of the release. This is possible only when you map the requirement with the test case, map the test case with the execution, map the execution with the defect. Only when you do this, this can be tracked. So we will always suggest to map the requirement with the test case, the execution, and your defects, so that when the project manager pulls out the report, he will have the full picture of it. Guys, you are able to understand what is requirement traceability matrix. This is what is called requirement traceability matrix. Guys, you are able to understand? Any questions? Okay. Now, this is how you map. Yes.
How we map the all, Rajesh?
What I did, I went, this is my test case, right? So usually you are in this screen, this tab, correct?
Yeah.
Now I went to this tab. You see here requirement coverage.
Okay.
I can map only when there is a requirement. First you need to create these two.
Okay.
Okay. Now what you will do, you will create requirement saying create patients, immunization, vaccine, like that you will create, right?
Right.
What all tabs we went through? Immunization, history,
Problem.
those will be your requirement names.
Okay.
And then you will come back to your test plan. Say for your create patients, right? That is a separate, that doesn't come under any field, right? It's a separate one. So that's a separate requirement. Now for this, you would have written 4 or 5 test cases, correct?
Right.
So once you create a requirement, come write the test cases here. Go to requirement coverage. Click on select requirement.
Okay.
Let me clean this up. Okay. Now I go here. I select the requirement. Okay. Wait, hold on. I'll click on this select requirement. This side it will pop up. Go to the requirement, that specific requirement. You know, this is the requirement for which I wrote the test case.
Right. Okay.
Map it. It will come here. That's all you need to do. You don't need to do anything else. It will automatically map.
Okay. Okay.
But add that requirement here. You getting me?
Okay.
You getting me?
Yeah, Rajesh.
Any other questions?
No.
Yes.
Yeah, Rajesh, one quick question. So the requirements, as you said, will be made by the BA.
Yes.
So you just have to go to the requirement coverage and find the requirement for it and just map it. That's all they have to do. Okay.
Yes. Say you will be given a set of requirements for you to write test cases.
Okay.
Now you have taken say requirement A or say work order 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you are writing negative test case, positive test case, you implemented equivalent partitioning, you implemented boundary value analysis and found out that there are 5 test cases.
Okay.
all the 5 test cases you will write as individual test cases.
Yeah.
And then for every test case you will map this work order.
Okay.
So that when we pull out this work order, it will come in the reverse order. What you did, you wrote the test case and mapped the work order. But when we pull out, it will show this work order has so many test cases.
Okay.
You got it?
Yes. Yeah.
So that's how we do the requirement traceability matrix.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. Now, once you add this, right? This is how you add your requirement here. Now, tomorrow we will take and execute this test case. So for tomorrow, guys, what I want you guys to do is take up at least 5 or 6 test cases that we did. At least 5. And say 1 from create patients, 1 from problem, 1 from history, 1 from immunization. So make it like from 5 different domains, 5 different links, you take it up and make at least 5 test cases. At least, how much ever you want to write, you can write. The more you write, you will learn how to do this faster in this tool, because when you go into your day-to-day job, they will have quality center and you should be able to write your test cases faster here. But for our purpose, at least write 5 test cases tomorrow. Once you finish those test cases, we will learn how to execute those test cases, raise defect and map those defects to those test cases, to these test cases. We will learn that for the tomorrow's class. Before winding up, any questions? Any questions? Yes?
Rajesh, can you create a separate folders for all of us?
What separate folders? Where?
For saving our test cases.
No, this server is independent. So in your machine, it's a separate server. You will not see these things there.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so you have to create right from requirement. You have to create.
Okay.
Okay. Usually in the company, what will happen is they will put it in a common server and you will access that server from your system.
Okay.
But here, since it's only a one virtual machine, we put the server in your virtual machine itself.
Oh, okay.
You getting me?
Yes.
Any other questions?
And also coming to the documents check-in and check-out, usually as a tester, we don't do that, right?
We don't do requirements, but if you are working on your test plan, you wrote your test cases and you want to modify the test cases. Unless you check in, you cannot modify, right?
Yeah.
So there also you have to check in and check out.
Oh, yes. I got this, but I'm asking about the requirement.
Requirements, you won't touch anything in that.
Okay.
You will not have permission to check out and all in that.
Okay.
You will only have read permission there.
Okay.
Okay.